Hello, beautiful growing seeds. Welcome to our first podcast. I'm very excited to launch this new branch under our blog to discuss the relationship between design and sustainability as well as environmental responsibility as a whole. My name is Alma, and just to provide you with a little bit of background about myself, you should probably know I'm a commercial interior designer located in Phoenix, Arizona. I moved to Arizona approximately 10 years ago from Mexico. I grew up in Hermosillo, Sonora, and I think my lifestyle growing up was my initial inspiration to pursue a career in sustainability since my life in Mexico was extremely low impact. And that was completely unintentional because it was just so normal in my family to avoid electronics as much as possible. As a kid, I was always playing outside with my friends, always involved in the community and paying attention to the waste we were generating as a family. We would wash our clothes by hand and air dry everything, which is crazy to think considering my lifestyle now, which isn't terribly unsustainable, but I do depend on a lot more appliances than the people who raised me did. Still do. My family in Mexico still lives a pretty sustainable lifestyle overall. I was mainly raised by my godmother, who I call Nina, and my grandmother, my abuelita, who passed away a few years ago, but my Nina still eats everything she grows in her garden, makes everything from scratch, recycles and composts, and she's just a great human being, but of course I might be a little biased. Anyway, I attended school at Northern Arizona University and graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Interior Design back in 2018, which was a very fun and creative degree to pursue. But from the moment I graduated college, I knew there was so much more I wanted to do for the environment than what I was currently doing. I worked throughout those 4 years and eventually found a really good job at a firm in Chandler, and I've worked there for almost 3 years, which is crazy to think. So, throughout these years of experience in the design industry, I began to identify the lack of sustainability proposed by architecture and interior design both. Some designers even discourage their clients to be more sustainable by reminding them of the expenses behind sustainability. But at the end of the day, I think a pretty good majority understands the value behind it. When I mentioned that I wanted to pursue a master's in sustainability, I received some negative feedback as well. For instance, I've had people tell me that this is a dying industry because the entire world is already transitioning into it, which is unfortunately a lie, but oh well. So why bother, right? But I've always taken those comments gracefully because I know there is so much value in the education I'm receiving, and I know I made the right choice. I know this was a pretty long intro, but I just wanted to add that I'll be graduating with a Master's in Sustainability Leadership from Arizona State University this December, hopefully if everything goes well. And I couldn't be happier about it, so yay! Anyway, today's topic is a balanced, sustainable lifestyle. What does that mean and how can we achieve it? I've written a few posts on the blog talking about green products and greenwashing, and some of the feedback that I usually hear is along the lines of, I want to be more sustainable, but eco friendly products are so expensive. How do I do it? And before I say anything else, I just want to clarify how valid that comment is because one, there's definitely a lot of bad capitalism and inflation involved in sustainability, completely independent from greenwashing because green products shouldn't be that expensive. Is it the manufacturer's fault? Sometimes, but it also has something to do with a lack of collective responsibility. In other words, if sustainable products were normal, this wouldn't be a problem. And two, in order to implement sustainability in our daily lives, it is not required for you to spend any money. So this is just a reminder that we shouldn't depend on capitalism, excuse my French, for shit. Never depend on capitalism for anything. As free-ish humans, we have the ability to make change happen on our own. Tools like our social media platforms have made that happen already. But let's focus on the basic economy package of sustainability. What are some actions we can take on our daily lives to be more environmentally responsible? I'm sure you've heard about the obvious. Go paperless, use reusable totes, be plastic free as much as possible. And a tip under the plastic free category, just a little FYI, don't even bother about using the plastic produce bags. No one cares if you place the items in your cart. It doesn't affect the quality of the fresh produce you're buying, and you have to wash everything anyway. So I'm still unsure why this hasn't become more common, but these are just a few super easy tips to be more resourceful. Also, please recycle. Like, Why is that not a thing? Visiting other countries, including Mexico and Canada, recycling is the law, but living in an apartment complex my entire life here in the US, it is rare to find recycling bins anywhere. I hate it so much, but I still take good care of my trash and make sure everything goes in the right place. It's just that it might be more challenging depending on your location. Some of the most obvious actions to take revolve around waste. So think about ways you could reduce waste in your home. Interior design wise, upcycling can be so much fun. Instead of purchasing new furniture, think of restoring your old or damaged furnishings. A quick restain can result in magical transformation and you get your creative juices flowing. I love hate saying creative juices. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. Waste. What else adds to it? Eat what you cook or buy. Seriously, I hate wasting food. If you have a lot of leftovers, find that local shelter you could donate it to or someone who is currently homeless and needs it more than a dumpster. I really love places like Portland where they literally have stations outside restaurants and shops with food and blankets up for grabs. Just remember we can always do better. Now, let's talk about the most complicated aspect about sustainability, capitalism and greenwashing. Two issues I hate but that require additional understanding from everyone attempting to live more sustainably. On one of the previous posts on the blog under the post-pandemic lifestyle series, I listed a few of my favorite sustainable hygiene products, and I dropped names like Mrs. Mayer and Lush, which are known to take pride in environmental responsibility, but similarly receive negative feedback that argues they aren't as sustainable as they advertise themselves to look. That alone is an example of greenwashing, and we cannot deny it. It doesn't matter how much we love these brands because of their availability and performance. As an example, even though Mrs. Mayer products don't test on animals and offer recycled packaging and ethical sourcing, their parent company Caldera isn't cruelty-free. Additionally, Mrs. Mayer has made a few mistakes in the past, such as not displaying all their synthetic ingredients on their label, which is just shady, to be honest. Nevertheless, Mrs. Mayer's response to some of these issues is what made the difference for me, since as they become more aware of the public's concerns, they've created sections on their website where they share this information and explain their mission better. Similarly, Lush, like many brands out there, has some work to do, starting with their packaging. Lush products are vegan or vegetarian for the most part, and as I mentioned on that previous post, I really love their stores because of how inviting and dynamic they are. I love that you can create your own products and packages, and although they do offer these adorable fabric wraps which you can totally reuse, some of their packaging is still made out of plastic. Now, all their plastic is recycled just like Mrs. Mayer's, and that's great, but considering this brand has such a strong environmental presence in the industry, I would expect more from them. There's definitely an imbalance here, but the good news is that Lush has noticed and they're constantly evolving and implementing new practices. I guess as long as there is movement, there is hope. At the same time, giving large corporations like these the benefit of the doubt is completely up to you. I just like to clarify that shopping on a budget shouldn't be considered unethical. Financial sustainability is also important. Being able to sustain the ethical choices you make is much more important. I definitely don't believe in shaming people for choosing to purchase these products because of how well they've worked for them, or simply because they're readily available products that offer a sustainability story worth supporting. Let's say that brands like Mrs. Mayer and Lush currently present us with a neutral environmental impact through their products, and that they're currently striving towards a positive one, which is more than other cleaning product and cosmetic lines can say they're doing. Now, sustainability has so many layers currently because, unlike some people think, this industry is constantly evolving because issues like global warming don't stop and are always fluctuating. So, flexibility while shopping for sustainable products is required in order to inspire more people to be better independently from the inconsistency found in this field. If you think about it, this flexibility adds to the sustainability behind this movement, which cannot exist without it. However, I just have to say it, any discrimination of any type is totally a choice made by those pursuing it, aka racist. So, sustainable brands like Reformation are out, and I'll forever exclude them from any future talks involving sustainability. If you haven't heard, just type reformation races on your browser and take the time to read those stories. I actually encourage everyone to do that with any brand that you support. It isn't fun, but it's so necessary. So that was the pretty side of greenwashing. The ugly side is when companies claim to be green, charge for those extra environmental features, but actually aren't. That is so fucked up, but it happens and it's part of the world we live in. This is also a good reason to do your research before spending your money because it's hard to tell, especially if the label and brand takes space in environmental movements. How can we know? Well, there are a few resources out there that can help. There's an app called Healthy Living I have on my iPhone. It's completely free to download and use, and you're able to scan any barcode to then retrieve any environmental information available about the product. If the product can't be found on this app, it means it's not EWG verified. For those of you who aren't familiar, EWG stands for Environmental Working Group, and their website, ewg.org, is an amazing sustainability resource, just an FYI. Again, the name of that app is Healthy Living, and you can download it and use it on your phone for free. Try it out and let me know what you think. Anyway, I feel like I say anyway a lot, and it's going to bother me on future podcasts, but we've covered a lot today, so I want to thank you for listening and remind you that you'll probably, I say probably because this is the first episode under this podcast, so I'm not really sure how it will go, but the plan is to publish these on the blog, seedsconcepts.com, and obviously record as regularly as I write. But as we all know, life can be difficult, and I do attend school full-time. I'm starting again next month. I also work full-time, and life is busy right now. However, this should be my last semester of grad school, hopefully, so I should have more time again in a few months. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Seeds and that you're having a wonderful week. Stay safe and saying thank you, beautiful growing seeds.